Welcome to another night of the Barbershop. It's going to hit live on Instagram. And tonight we are talking about time spent away from your partner. What does it look like? What should it look like? That kind of stuff. Before we start our show tonight, we always like to do a prayer or a moment of silence. And tonight we're going to do a very special prayer or moment of silence. For me, I'll be praying. You can take a moment of silence. We are going to do a moment of silence for the folks at Robb Elementary. Uh, just take your moment. Like I said, I'll be praying, but you don't have to pray, and we'll start our show after that. Okay. So that was our moment of silence and our prayer. We usually like to start off with a positive, like, hey, throw some positive energy out in the world. But today, unfortunately, for the folks in Uvalde, we are just giving some thoughts and prayers out to those folks. We thought the best way to kind of spread positivity and do our thing was to still do a show. So we're going to be doing our show today. You're watching The Barbershop. I'm your host, Dr. Christopher Salute. I'm really excited to talk about today's show. It's not, I think a lot of the shows that we have on here are very taboo topics, but tonight, I just thought something would be, it would be really interesting, just how to spend healthy time away from your partner. What does healthy time away from your partner look like, and how to do that? And as always, the show is brought to you by Bold Magazine, Fabu Plus Magazine, Strutter Magazine, That Professor Life Consulting, by Going Solo Media, and all the other fun sponsors that we have. So, what's going on with me lately? What's going on with the network? We want to talk about the network for a second. We are really looking to expand our network. So, just CC, we forgot to mention the CC is down producing right now, but we're hitting almost 100,000 views on Roku in like the past 2 to 3 weeks. That's we're hitting a lot. So if you want to sponsor, now's the time to do it. If you want to host a show, now would be the time to do it. You can actually host a show. It doesn't cost a lot to host your own show, and there's opportunity to make revenue as well. So let us know. Send me a note. CC, if you want to throw my my email address up on the screen, you can do that. I'll send it to you so that you can do that. Just something to think about. Definitely get in touch with us. If you have something to say, of course, we'll talk to you about, what you're saying, how you're saying it. You want to make sure we vet you, make sure that we're all on the same page. But, you never know. So what's going on with me? Just working a lot. I'm definitely working a lot, teaching a lot. In fact, I probably have to grade papers tonight after the show. People think that I probably go to bed, but nope. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. So tonight, probably grading some papers. Bold and Fabu Plus doing some great stuff. Strutter's doing some great stuff going forward. Relationships are going great personally. As our all relationships have their ups and downs, right? So I'm really happy to be where I'm at right now. And like I said, there's challenges at every corner, but you can't get much better. So what are we talking about tonight? So tonight we're talking about spending time without your partner. So I always like to introduce each topic, right, with a couple of movies that, both positively and negatively kind of spend time away from your partner. And while I'm showing you some movies about this, feel free, comment away, talk about some healthy time that you spent with your partner, talk about some not healthy time that you spent with your partner, and we'll talk about it, attachment styles and all that kind of stuff, right? So the couple of movies that I wanted to talk about with regard to spending time away from your partner. The first one I thought was the perfect one, the movie I Love You, Man. So I Love You, Man, we know Paul Rudd and forget the other guy, the guy who plays Marshall on How I Met Your Mother. But I Love You, Man's about a guy, Paul Rudd, who only has girlfriends. He just only has girlfriends. He never has guy friends. He winds up getting married, or he gets engaged. He doesn't have somebody to be his best man. He doesn't have somebody to be in his wedding party, and so he doesn't even have anybody to call to say, "Hey, bro, like I'm getting married," that kind of stuff. And it's really interesting because as he starts to take time away from the engagement and time away from his relationship, they start to have some problems in the relationship. Now, here's the thing, right? it's the problems in the movie are not such that he's taking time away from Zoe, his partner, and that's the problem. The problem is that he'd never done it before, and he doesn't know how to do it. He doesn't know how to take healthy time away from his partner, right? So I thought that was a pretty good one. A couple other movies I thought would be interesting. Same, very similar cast. Forgetting Sarah Marshall, Paul Rudd, and God, I can't remember his name. Somebody tell me what the guy's name is, please. That plays Marshall on How I Met Your Mother. But Forgetting Sarah Marshall is about they're dating. He's dating Sarah Marshall, and what winds up happening? They get separated, right? They break up, and he's got to figure out what life looks like without her. So what's the healthy kind of time that he spends away from his ex-girlfriend, right? So I thought that was a good one. A couple of other ones that I wanted to bring up before we get into the nitty-gritty of the show. Hall pass, which we referenced even at the other show, right? All the spouses give their guys a hall pass and yada, 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 which I think is a stupid concept because it's just stupid, right? Giving somebody a hall pass implies that they desperately want to cheat on you. Giving somebody a hall pass also implies that cheating is not okay and that you're just doing it because you want to do it. And there's a ton of stuff wrong with that idea. A couple other movies, The Hangover, right? And you could go Hangover and Bridesmaids, right? What happens when guys get together? What happens when girls get together? And then lastly is He's Just Not That Into You, right? Really talks about the anxieties that we deal with when our partner is not with us, right? What happens when there's some ambiguity when our partner's not with us? Sorry, I'm desperately drinking as much Gatorade as I can. Now I'm going to switch over to water, but I can't seem to stay hydrated. It's like 105 degrees out. So those are just some movies, with regard to, spending some time away from your partner. And I'd love to hear from you. What are some healthy things that you do to spend time away from your partner? And more importantly, is spending time away from your partner healthy, right? Should you... And because some people don't think so, right? And I'm not here to tell you whether it is or it isn't. I have my thoughts on it, but I'm going to tell you that it's up to you. So tell me what you think, right? So how did this kind of come about, right? Well, I've experienced this quite a bit, right? I'm a fairly busy guy, and it also took me a long time to really commit to partnership in general. So there was a lot of ambiguity surrounding myself and potential partners. And so, there were a lot of times where I think a partner might look at my schedule. I'll be honest, it still happens. I'm busy 14 hours a day. I don't even look at my phone sometimes. My phones literally could be with my assistant, and they're posting stuff on my social media platforms for my magazines. And I'm like, I'm not even there. Like, I'm not even looking, And so, it's very possible for that to happen, right? Where a partner doesn't get to see me, and there's some anxiety there. Let me answer that in a second, and I want to talk about what happens, how I describe these things. So there's a couple of different ways that I can react when partner's like, hey, what's the deal? You're not spending time with me. What's going on? Whatever. And look, I also admit I'm a very different partner. I crave independence. I've also, I switch between I'm switch between monogamy and non-monogamy in my life, right? So there are times that I could be dating somebody and then I'm also on a date, right? So all those things happen, but the reactions that I give, sometimes, when the first couple times it happens, I'm like very nurturing. Hey, I still like you. I love you, whatever it is, blah, 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 blah. After a while though, I'll explain that I'm very busy and this is the time that I have, and I appreciate you. And here's the thing. I can change a lot about my life, but I can't change being busy. And quality time is not really a huge love language for me. So I'll explain that as often as I can, and I'll try to compromise as much as I can. But, after the third or fourth time that happens, it's like, all right, you've got to make an adjustment, or this may not be working for us, right? Like if you need more time from me, then we may not be a good fit. And that's okay too, right? And let's explore what that option looks like, right? So on that note, we're going to be exiting Instagram. I'm going to be heading over to TikTok, but you can just check the show right on my stories. we can hit up Shariva's comment. I'm sorry about that, Cece. You can put that back up. I'm sorry. In order for someone to take healthy time away, they must prioritize healthy time with. I can't be with someone who doesn't make time with me as a priority. Well, yeah, and I think, and here's the thing. I think, Shariva, to your point, right? We prioritize what we want to prioritize. Your love language could be quality time. One of your main love languages could be quality time. My love languages, my main two love languages, and nobody's better or worse, right? My main two are acts of service and words of affirmation, believe it or not. It used to be words of affirmation and physical touch, but then the stuff that happened to me happened, with regard to my reputation and how I was viewed as a kind of a sexual physical entity by folks. And so physical touch to me kind of became actually repulsive, unless I truly, truly knew and loved and understood someone. I physical touch for me was not a big, it's not a big deal. Now, the other side of the coin is acts of service has moved up into one of my number one love languages. So for me, somebody might say, hey, I know that you're very busy today. I dropped you off a sandwich. Well, I don't eat a lot of bread, but I dropped you off a salad. It's right at your front door. Feel free to grab that for lunch. And I don't care about the money. I'll pay you back. Right. But that to me is like the ultimate act of kindness, right? Like I've had partners who be like, hey, I know you're very busy today, or you're sick. I got you, some food, or I got you some medicine. That to me is like awesome, right? Or I know you're very busy and I took out the trash for you, or I did, like, you come over for a night and you do the dishes in the morning. Like if we ate dinner or had breakfast, whoo, it's a fire in me. I can't even, that's just hot, right? So to me, that turns me on, but I'm not turned on by quality time. In fact, when somebody desperately needs that quality time, that to me is really challenging for me. And it almost is a turn off if they can't understand that time is not something that I can give them. Shariva says, hold on, let me read that again. Touch, and time are mine. So touch 3 times and then time. Got it. So now I want you to understand a couple of things as we're talking about these topics. Number one is my way is not always the right way. It's definitely not always the right way. I'm just talking about, these are my personal opinions. Hey, I'm a life coach. I'm a relationship coach. Got some letters at the end of my name. You decide if you like what I have to say, right? That's number one. Number two, when we're talking about these situations, and I'll say this over and over and over, that I choose my topics weeks or months in advance. So if you have experienced something with me last year or something like that, and you're like, you know what, this guy's a real jerk, he's bringing it up on the air. I had somebody who I split up with say, I better not be on your radio show. And I was like, okay, like, no, it's not going to happen. First of all, you can't tell me not to put you on my radio show. Like, I don't use your name. I don't use the example. I don't use, anything, whatever. So you can't tell me not to put you on my radio show, because I also use amalgams, right? I use amalgamous people where I combine several people, right? I'm combining stories. So when I talk about these ideas, they're literally, it's happened to me 10 times, 15 times, 5 times, 3 times, whatever. So, when you pick these topics, it's not like, hey, I just had somebody who was upset about blah, 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 and I'm putting it on the show. It's not the case, right? But I will say, as a general rule, that I have absolutely been I don't want to say victim to, because I'm not a victim, but I have definitely heard this very often, that your level of time is not, you don't have the amount of time that I need. Okay, fine. That's totally fine. But we're not talking about that today. What we're talking about today is how to spend time away from your partner, right? You've got a partner. How do you spend time away from that partner in a healthy way, right? Because, you don't want to be having an anxiety attack when your partner goes out with the boys or goes out with the girls, whatever. I had a partner, for example, man, this one killed me. I don't even want to, she still talks about how I was a jerk. And this partner, we would get into a fight a lot of times before she went out. And she would blame me and say, oh, you don't like me going out. I didn't care if she went out at all. I didn't care if she went out. But she tended to get like a little sassy before she went out, and we got into a fight. We got into a fight 4 or 5 times, right? And I would call her to resolve the fight before she went out, because I didn't want her to go out and get super drunk. I wanted her to be healthy and to be safe. So I didn't want her to go out and get super drunk because she was upset with me, and then whatever. And so I'd call her, and I swear to God, this is what she did. She would answer the phone, right? When I called, she would pick up the phone, she would answer it, and then she would leave it on speakerphone at the bar so that I could hear the men hitting on her, so that I could hear the flirting that happened at the bar. And it was like, gave me a panic attack, gave me writhing anxiety. And so obviously not a healthy way to maintain time away from your partner. So then what is healthy time away from your partner? Well, the first thing we want to do when we're talking about healthy time away from your partner, in my opinion, is talk about what your attachment style is, right? So what is your attachment style? So there's a bunch of different ways, and I just want to pull it up real quick. There's a bunch of different tests that you can take, that kind of stuff, right? But the 3 that are the main attachment styles, right? Number 1 is a secure attachment style, right? A secure attachment style says, look, I'm secure with you. It is what it is. We're attached in that way, right? And secure attachment styles, look, if you're listening to my show, you might not have a secure attachment style, only because you might be single. Most secure attachments, most folks who have a secure attachment style, they're in relationships because they do relationships very well, right? The other 2 are anxious. The 2 main ones are anxiety and oh God, why can't I think of the other one? Dismissive? No, not dismissive. Anxiety. I'm like blanking out right now because I'm both. Avoidant. Sorry, avoidant. So anxious and avoidant, and I'm actually an anxious avoidant, which is really wonderful. It's really like when you date me, it's like, have you ever had an ice cream sundae? Date me, it's like the opposite of having an ice cream sundae. It is just like bitter at all times. Anyway, I'm so glad that you're here with me. So Brianna says that is really messed up. It is very messed up. Absolutely. It dictates why, it says why we're not together. And we'll go through the attachment styles in a second as well. I saw these other comments. Jesse says, having some time apart is important to both people involved and can also benefit the relationship as a whole. Yeah, 1000% can benefit the relationship as a whole. 100%. They say absence makes the heart grow fonder. I agree. We had somebody on the show, Cece. I don't know if you remember a couple of years ago when we had somebody on the show, but we had there we go, anxious, ambivalent, disorganized, and yeah, for sure. We had somebody on the show by the name of Bobby, and Rob. And Rob was a dating coach, and he said, I thought something very profound. A couple of people disagreed. He said to me, people don't miss you in your presence. They don't fall in love with you in your presence. They fall in love with you in your absence. And I really like that. So Shariva says, well, recognize your partner's needs. Don't take your partner's time away as a personal attack. Yeah, for sure. We definitely don't want to take anything away as a personal attack, right? So I've had partners being like, this is what I hate. I hate this, right? When a woman or man says, I'm going to take sex away as, well, you're not getting this tonight. Okay, well, first of all, if physical touch is my love language, then that sucks. Number 2 is you have complete consent to do whatever you want to do with your body. I am not by any means saying that I demand and get your body, right? But number 3 is my body's a prize too. So go ahead and take your body away. I'm pretty good in bed. So that's a solid 8 minutes of you not having fun. No, I'm kidding. I at least go 9 or 10. I'm kidding. So, to me, taking anything away is a very silly way to spend time. You just shouldn't be doing it, right? If you know that your partner, I know that physical touch for me is really challenging because of where I've been and what's happened with me in my life. So I really try to be physically there with my partner, really give some physical touch. Now, that's number one. Number two, I know quality time is really challenging. So when I'm with my partner or any partner, if they're a play partner, if they're a casual partner, whatever they are, when I'm with a partner, right? And I know that quality time is important to them. I'm going to not pick up my phone. I'm going to not answer my email. I'm going to not have my laptop on me. I'm going to be focused on them or the movie or them and the movie or the meal. I'm going to engage in conversation. So when we have quality time together, it's going to be quality time. That's my compromise, right? I just can't. I can't give you 5 hours on the couch scrolling through TikTok. I just can't, because I'm not scrolling through TikTok for 5 hours, right? What I can give you is 2 hours for dinner, and we're going to really enjoy each other's company, right? And that's fine, right? And then I have to rely on you to take those 3 hours and go, enjoy your space somewhere else. And that's okay too. So that being said, it looks like we just picked up on TikTok. Everyone's on TikTok, but I have to let you go on TikTok, but go on my Instagram. The show is right on my stories. And Cece, are we taking a break? Let me know. Be a part, come together. We love that. Yeah. Let's see. No break. Okay, cool. So we're not taking a break today. You are still watching The Barbershop with your host, Dr. Christopher Sloot. I'm so excited to be talking about this topic. We're not taking a break, which is actually fine, because you know what? We get to hang out. We get to be a part of each other's lives and not even sweat the break. So if you're just joining us from TikTok or Instagram, what we're talking about today is spending quality time or spending healthy time away from your partner, right? And I want to talk about my experience. I want to talk a bit about some other, what the experts are saying, right? So in my experience, I think what's really important is spending time away from your partner. And especially in today's day and age, we are doing a lot of long distance stuff. We are not having traditional relationships where it's like we meet at, we met in high school or college, and now we're regionally in the same city, and then that's how that works. A lot of times we are living far away from our partners, far away from our spouse. I know couples who had really, really great relationships when they were apart, and then they moved in together, or they moved to the same city and they couldn't handle it, right? And that happens, right? Or maybe not that they couldn't handle it. That's not okay. Maybe it's that they just realized that they, couldn't they didn't want to be in proximity, right? So I think that's really important to recognize. A couple of things that I do when I'm away from my partner, I do a couple of things. Number one is I really do take some time for me, right? So if I'm taking time away from my partner, time for me is really important. But the other part of that is when you are long distance, like I have been in most of my life, a lot of my relationships, letting them know that you're still there if they need you, and letting them know that you still love them is super important, because they're not going to get the feedback that you have to give them because you're not there, right? So letting them know, I'm not a huge fan of these guys, and I'm sure women do it too, but I know guys do it. I'm sure women do it, where, you have this communication style and this communication pattern of, well, I'll get back to them when I get back to them, and, I'm going to take time for me and not answer. Okay, that's fine. But, when you really truly love your partner, leaving the communication ambiguous, it's a disservice. It's a disservice to your partner, and you're playing a game, right? The right thing to do is to say, hey, I'm going to be away from the phone for a little bit, and I just want to let you know that I'm not going to talk to you for a little bit, and that's okay, right? Or, there are times when you're in a fight, for example, you may say, look, I need some space, and I'll let you know when I'm going to come back to you, and that's okay too, right? But to just not answer somebody, that's silly, right? We've got some comments here. Jesse says, be apart, come together. We love that. Brianna says, I agree that absence makes the heart grow fonder, but in my experience, it also makes it forgetful sometimes. I think it depends on the attachment style. And here's the thing in 2022, Brianna, is that unfortunately, we've got a lot of folks who don't know how to love, and they don't know how to commit, and they don't know how to do it the right way. So you may have folks who, have forgotten you or whatever in the past, and maybe they didn't forget you, but they pretended to forget about you. It's really, it's really tough to date in 2022. Shariva says quality time does not mean a lot of time. I agree with that, but I would also say some folks do think the quality time means a lot of time. I'm in your boat, Shariva, where I say, look, I'll give you the time. The time's gotta be focused because then I got to wake up and I got to go to work. Right. I'm like 50 Shades of Gray, man. I'm waking up at 5 a.m. You could stay in bed and have breakfast. I'll cook. I'll have somebody cook for you, but I'm getting, well, for me, it's probably like ordering you breakfast, but I'm getting back to work. Right. A lot of folks, though, don't do that. A lot of folks think quality time is hours together, hours on the phone, hours doing this. And I can do that sometimes. Hey, I've done this with a partner. I said, hey, and they've said to me, hey, let's get on the phone together or get on a screen together and let's just chill. And I'll work and you'll work and we'll just enjoy our time. Totally dope. I'm all about that. Absolutely. So Ali Scribner says, let's see. Really, I'll wait until it goes up. But she's got a good comment as well. So I think, it's really just about communication. It's about making sure that you're catering to, your person's needs. And tell me how you like to spend time apart, right? And then what I'd like to do after this next comment, we're going to go into the comments, which are some really good comments, or not comments, what the experts have to say. So it looks like we can't seem to get the comment up. Let me read it to you. Ali Scribner. Really demonstrates the need for strong communication and compromise in a relationship. It's a partnership, not a solo act. Yeah, and I agree with that, right? Here's the thing. It's a partnership, and there are certain things that you're willing to compromise on and certain things that you're not willing to compromise on. And it's like, hey, you got to decide what you're willing to let go of and what you're going to be strong on. See, for me, words of affirmation are really, really, they're like my number one, right? I am an extrovert. I could talk all day long. Now, I tend to date folks, either they're introverts or they're introverted extroverts, or they could be extroverts, but nobody engages with more communication than I do. It is how I flow throughout the day. I'm in sales. I'm a professor. I am constantly speaking to folks. And to that end, I love talking to people to rejuvenate. So I may have at a given point, and I'm not even joking you, I might have 25 conversations going on throughout the day between work, is mostly my students, and then I'm checking in with people, right? I'm texting my dad, I'm texting my mom, I'm texting my partner, I'm texting whomever, right? That kind of stuff. And so it's definitely, for me, I don't get into a situation where I used to feel like my partners didn't love me because they didn't give me that word of affirmation. No, there is no amount of words of affirmation that will help me get through my day, right? So I need to be okay with them going silent for a couple hours and getting on with their day and loving their life, right? At the same time, my partners have all pretty much said to me, I'm well aware that you're going to speak to other people, men, women, whomever, that you have special relationships with, and they're going to give you some words of affirmation. That's okay, because you just need it, bro. And that's okay too, right? So yeah, same thing with spending time away from your partner is, you understand what you're willing to give up, and you understand what you're willing to not give up, right? So let's go to the experts. I've got a couple of articles from sweethigh.com and then symmetrycounseling.com. So we'll start with sweethigh.com. Oh, we'll do Shariva's comment first? Okay. Let me put my feet on you and both of us read, respond to emails and work. You don't have to talk to me to let me be physically close to you. See, I love that. I call that dueling laptops. That is my favorite form of you get both the physical touch and you get the quality time, right? I had a partner for a while. Didn't work out for various reasons, mostly because she was a complete jerk. You may have seen her talk crap about me on the internet a couple years ago. Sorry, I'm on it tonight. I swear. I do also have wonderful partners in my life who have said wonderful things. But we did dueling laptops. She put her feet up on me. I'd curl up into her. We do some dueling laptops. We work all day, and it was great. So let's see what the experts say. Sweethigh.com says a couple of things. I love these like bulleted kind of lists. Understand why it's important. Taking time away from your partner is important, right? When you're in a relationship, you can easily fall into a routine, right? Do the same things over and over and over. No, we want to break that routine. Let's get away from each other 24/7. It's the same thing in my opinion. Look, when you're all over each other's social media, to me, you know what that says? Something's up. Something is up. If you're all over each other's social media, something is up, right? Because you're trying to show off. You're not being genuine, right? Look, if you want to do it a couple of times, I've had, when I go to my partner, I'll blitz my partner. I'll bomb my partner, right? Because I want him to know I love him, right? And I'm just, boom. I don't care if you posted, I hate cats. You want to post something about your cats? Boom. I love it, right? Because I love you, right? But I'm not doing that every day. I'm not like tagging them on every, look at this pepperoni pizza, Shirley. Like, who cares, bro? Like, I'll send that in a DM. Like, you know what I mean? Like, this was just like the pencil that you chewed on. Nobody cares. Have that inside joke by yourself, right? So you don't want to smother each other, right? Prioritize other relationships, I think, is super important. I love that. There's a meme that basically says, hey, you don't need to get everything from one person. My person needs to understand I'm going to have I'm going to have some other relationships that are just for me, right? Find something that's only yours. Spending time away from your partner. Yeah. So when I spend time away from my partner, I do a couple of things. I love to write. I love to go to the gym. I love to go fight MMA. I love to cook. Away from my partner. Especially, I have some weird palates. Some of my partner may not understand that. Like, I'm crunching up some like Takis into my mac and cheese. Like, they might not like that, Shuri was laughing at Shirley. I appreciate that, Shuri, but thank you. So they say prioritize other relationships, get comfortable being alone. That's something we don't do. We don't do that. And you'll find that folks who can't take time away from their relationship, they have a problem being alone. So they go from relationship to relationship. The relationship is like a savior to them. And so, when it happens, they're so thankful they're in another relationship and they don't want to exit. They don't want to take a break. Here's the thing. In my opinion, you've got X amount of time in your relationship with someone before you get on each other's nerves. Now, there's a chemistry involved, right? It could be hours, it could be days, it could be months, it could be years. At some point, you're going to piss off your partner, right? Get away from them before you do that. Go take some time away from yourself. Take some time to enjoy yourself. If you can't do that, you're not going to have a sustainable relationship because you're going to keep hitting that same pattern over and over and over, right? Plan a post-separation date. If you really have a hard time separating from your partner, turn it into a sort of game. Reward yourself for the time you spend apart. I like that, by planning rewards. Yeah, so hey, we're going to, I'm not going to see you for a month. Let's go. I don't know. I'm really feeling a cruise lately. Let's go on a cruise, right? Stay connected. Yes. Being away from your partner does not mean zero contact. There's a nifty little device called a cell phone. It allows you to stay connected. Now, this is a slippery slope. On the one hand, you don't want to spend all your time apart glued to your phone. Yes, agreed. But on the other hand, you want to stay in touch, and I love that, right? Stay in touch, right? It doesn't mean that you have to ignore each other when you're spending time alone. Now, what does symmetry counseling say? Symmetry counseling says 10 relationship benefits of spending time away from your partner. Okay. Oh, love this. They go into the be apart, come together thing, right? So here are the 10 things. Number one, connecting more deeply. Spending time alone is a great way to connect with yourself. I say the same thing. Bro, if I've got a partner, right, and we are talking at the end of the day, right, I better have something to talk about. If I don't have something to talk about, then what good am I to the relationship? I remember specifically, it was the same partner that we did the dueling laptops. I said to them, they were a big event planner, they big life coach, they had all these things that they were working on, big brander, and she really needed help. One of her events was not going to go smoothly, and so I said, I'll help out. I've got a brand. I've got these magazines. I've got this community. Let me help, right? And make me an affiliate. I'll help you out. I'll get some folks there. Give me a discount if you can. I'll get some people there. And when I wasn't working at my day job, right, all day, every day, I'm trying to get people to come to her event, right? And so there was a point around noon one day where we just separated to say, like, hey, I'm going to work on this for you. And they messaged me like all this, like, very like needy text. Okay, I get it. You're very anxious, all these things. And I said, let me explain this to you. I'll use Shirley again for you, Shirley. I said, Shirley, here's the thing. If we spend all day connected, I can't get this done for you. If we spend all day connected, I have nothing to report back to you later. If we spend all day connected, I have nothing to talk to you about later. Let's both be bosses today. Let's kick some ass today. I'll hit you back up at 6, 7, 8, whatever time we designate, and then we'll have something to talk about. And you'll be a couple of bucks richer because I'll have gotten some people to buy tickets to your event, right? Because, that it was important to them. And so, that was what I had to explain. I'll say the same thing. If we spend all day connected, what are we going to talk about later, right? If we do everything together, we belong to the same charities. We belong to the same softball league. We go to the same, meetings. What if we were in the same job even, right? Separate for a little bit, right? That's important. Appreciating your partner more. Yeah, I think same as connecting more deeply. Reducing stress levels. That's important too. Here, let me finish these and then I'll hit up Shariva's question. Work out problems more easily. When you're up close to an issue, it can be difficult. Yes, take a step back, right? I love that. Avoid neediness. Yes. Your attachment style could be anxious. I get that. You're talking to an anxious avoidant here. Trust me, I'm the worst of the worst. Okay, I'm a roller coaster and a picnic and an ice cream machine all rolled into one. But I try not to be needy, right? Prioritize what's important. Yeah, you've got other stuff you've got to do, right? We've got to go to work. We've got to take class. We've got to pay bills. We've got things to do. Energize and revitalize. Yes, it's why you're not repeating that same pattern, right? Achieve more balanced perceptions. Yes, you're going to get time away from not only your partner, but you're going to get time with other people that are going to give you different perceptions, right? Bring up new and dynamic conversations. Yes, we're bringing new things into the conversation, and then never lose your sense of self. And that is probably the most important thing that we think about when spending time away from your partner. So many folks lose their identity. I cannot tell you. I mean, you know this, right? You've seen me date these people of popularity. I'm not going to call them celebrities because I hate that word. These popular people, I've dated them. I've literally called myself so-and-so's fiance. Yo, I'm Dr. Christopher Salute. I got a podcast and a mic. Are you kidding me? I'm a boss. I'm kidding. Everything about that was a joke except for the first part. But the whole point is, I'm a personality. I've got things going on, right? I've got a PhD, a master's degree. I've got a great job. I teach. I've been a dean at several universities. I've got a book coming out. I've got a business, right? I've got a family. I've got friends. And I'm telling people that I'm so-and-so's fiance because they were some sort of smooth actress or something. Who cares? Or, oh, you know me. I date so-and-so. She's an internet celebrity or she's an influencer. Who cares, right? And so you wind up introducing yourself, and it doesn't have to be because they're a celebrity or whatever we call them, right? You wind up introducing yourself as this person who's this other person's person, and it's like, but where are you, right? So you lose your identity when you don't get time away from yourself, right? You know how you should introduce yourself? Hey, I'm Shirley, and I'm an excellent cook. Hey, I'm going to use all the worst names now, Shariva. I'm Sally, and I fight mixed martial arts. Hey, I'm Cindy, and I'm a writer. Hey, let me think. I'm Karen. I'm Karen, and I'm an ophthalmologist, right? Whatever is your identity is what you need to identify as. Not, I'm Cindy, and I'm Christopher's partner. I'm Shirley, and I'm Christopher's wife. Sure, if you're meeting my colleagues, you could say, I'm Christopher's wife, and I'm also a dog trainer, and I'm also a mermaid, or whatever you identify as, right? So let's go. Shariva says, being alone used to be a big issue for me, so I forced myself to be alone for a year. It turned into 5 and counting, but it's healing. Yeah, I struggle with being alone too, and I would say I've been alone for about a year at a time. It's definitely a challenge for me. I don't know if I could do another year. I really enjoy my life, but I learned a lot. I learned a lot for sure. Brianna says, it's good to miss your partner and be missed by them. Time apart is definitely needed and healthy. Yeah, 1,000%. That's what we do, right? We spend time apart so that we can spend the better time together. I 1,000% agree. Now, the interesting thing was when I Googled this, or I used Bing actually, how to spend time away from your partner, a couple of things came up that I thought were interesting. Number one, how to get some time away from your boyfriend. 15 steps, which I think is hysterical. I'm not even going to get into them. I'm not a girlfriend, so I can't tell you. You read it, right? But here are some questions that come up. What to do when you have time away from your partner? How should you spend free time? Is it better to break up with your partner for time? See, I didn't like that. Is it healthy to take time apart in a relationship? And then tips if you struggle to spend time away from your partner, right? I thought those were very interesting. But, here's the thing. They say this a lot when you experience burnout. They say, do you want to take a break or do you want to quit, right? And so I'd say the same thing to you in your relationship. Do you want to take a break or do you want to quit? If you want to quit, don't take a break, right? Don't get time away from your partner, right? Be in a situation where y'all hate each other because you don't know how to take healthy time away from each other. It'll happen. Oh, trust me, it'll happen, right? You'll be forced to take time away from each other because you're going to get on each other's nerves. Beat that to the punch. Take some time away from each other. It's a super healthy thing to do. Now, how you do that is important, right? Now, if there are certain triggers, like my partner used to do, where she put her stupid phone on and left it on, that's crap, right? If your partner has it, like I have a lot of women in my life, right? I get along with women way more than I get along with men, right? If my partner says to me, look, you're gonna go down to, let's pick Kalamazoo, I don't care, but you know who lives there, right? Your ex lives there, or that person who doesn't understand your boundaries, or that person who disrespected me. Better not be seeing that. Better not be seeing Cindy over in Kalamazoo. You better not be seeing Shirley over in Kalamazoo. You know what I'm saying? And so, look, out of respect, I'm not going to do that, right? Whether it's platonic or not, I'm just not going to do it, right? Because I know that that's going to hurt that partner, right? She may say, hey, you're going to see your boy Dan, right? Dan likes to go to the certain clubs. That triggers me because you're out at the clubs. Don't hang out with Dan tonight. All right, so then maybe I don't hang out with Dan that night, right? Now, at some point, I have to say, look, my boy Dan and I are good friends. So when do I get to go to the clubs, right? And that's an important conversation to have. But when spending time alone, sometimes you need to make that compromise. Hey, keeping in touch, that kind of stuff, I think is super important. But I think all in all, I think spending time away from your partner is not only important, but it's necessary to keep your identity, to keep your faith that you are a whole person, right? It's way important, right? Now, how you do that is important, and I think we've uncovered a couple of steps, right? So communication with your partner is key, making sure that you're respectful of your time and their time, prioritizing other relationships, though, making sure that they know, hey, look, I can't get my whole life from you, right? Look, I love my dog. My dog and I can only have one-sided conversations very often, so he needs to know I'm going out sometimes, right? Same thing with your partner. Your partner's going to give you one side of a coin, right? They're going to give you, they might give you skepticism. They might give you too much faith. They might give you whatever. You need other opinions on whatever it is that you're looking for. So you got to do it, right? So I think that's really important. Well, hey, I want to thank everybody who communicated tonight. I want to thank everybody who came in, who commented, both on tonight's show, and we did the Indecent Proposal show, which I thought was a lot of fun. And I want to address one more time. We decided to do the show tonight because I am dutifully aware of what has happened in Uvalde, Texas, and at Robb Elementary. And we took one moment of silence. I will pray later, and I hope that you do too. To that end, we decided to do a show tonight because we really wanted to continue on with life, not to disrespect what happened, but to let folks know that they're not going to win when these tragedies happen, that we are going to continue to press on and enjoy our lives and live our lives. And we're going to make the changes that we need to make. I hope, I pray that we will. And we won't get political, but a lot of things need to happen in this country, including how we care for our mentally ill, and how we care for our young folks, our students in schools, and a bunch of other things that I won't get into because it's not a political show. But we will do those things. But in the meantime, while we're doing those things, we're going to grieve, but we're going to live our lives, and we're going to continue to spread positivity and love, because the light that we have is not going to be dimmed by a bunch of what they are. So anyway, I want to thank you so much for coming on to our show. I want to thank you for talking about time away from your partner and the Indecent Proposal with the Boy and Girl Show with Cece. I really enjoyed your comments. I really enjoyed the care and effort and energy that you bring to our show every single other Wednesday. I don't say every single other Wednesday. Don't forget you could always check out our archive shows on YouTube. We're on Roku. Almost 100,000 viewers on Roku now. So love that y'all are here. With that, I want to say thank you so much to our commenters. Thank you to our listeners. Thank you to our viewers. And I am your host, Dr. Christopher Salute. Oh, wait, one more comment. I believe communication is important, but I'm not telling you what I'm doing for permission. I'm telling you because you are already agreed with that. We should do a whole show on permission, because I hate that. one before we end the show. I'm in a bunch of bachelor party text messages, and they'll work. Oh, my wife is letting me go. My wife won't let me do that. Your wife's letting you do what? Your husband's letting you do what? No, you do what you want as long as it's not hurting your partner, and as long as it's not spending exorbitant amount of money. It's not a permission. It's I'm letting you know what I'm doing because that's what I'm gonna do. My partner would do the same thing. If my partner ever said to her girlfriends, "Oh, my husband or my fiance or my partner didn't let me do that," do you know how much crap I would be in? They would hate me, and I would hate me. You do what you want. You make the decision that you want. Now, if it hurts me, then you hurt me, and that sucks. We're going to talk about that, right? I'm not letting you do anything. You make your own money, spend your own money, right? As long as our bills are covered and that kind of stuff, and we have our arrangement. But go do your thing, right? We'll do a whole show on permission. I hate that. Anyway, that is our show tonight. You're watching The Barbershop. This is Dr. Christopher Salute on Going Solo Media and Going Bold Wednesdays and Going Bold Network, a joint venture between Bold Holdings and Going Solo Media. I'm your host, Dr. Christopher Salute. That was The Barbershop. That was the show. Thanks so much.